It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and it's time now to talk Great Flinders Football. It returns this weekend, and a man who will be part of it once more, the greatest goal kicker in South Australian football history. And I'm not just making that up. That's a fact. Chris Prime joins me on the line. G'day, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, Regs. Yes, looking forward to footy kicking off. It's rushed up pretty quick getting away before Easter, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes, we get away with 2 matches this weekend out of the 7 clubs in Great Flinders Football and Netball. And 3 of them will have the bye this week. So round 1, it's an interesting structure. It's the way you got to go with 7 teams. So you'll play 2 matches this week, then have Easter off, and then be back Anzac weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. We get Easter off and just trying to fit in that a little short split round here to get the games up. I think so we can play 14. So
yep.
It is a little bit of a different way to start the year, but it gives people a chance to go and watch 2 good games of footy.
Absolutely. So the bye teams this week are Cummins, Kapini Cougars, Ramblers. The 2 Cummins sides will have to wait until after Easter to get their first game. And your nearest neighbour there at Sunby Bay is Air United. They have a bye round 1 as well. So, they might be able to head over to Lock and watch the old enemy have a game against the Lock crew, right?
They might. I think there'll be a few people that put their feet up and just enjoy another weekend off. Because the fishing looks not too bad this weekend. So I reckon that there might be a few people go that way.
Well, why not? All the Tubby folk are going to be moving out for the weekend, heading to Lock. So plenty of the Ungara crew might just move on in and throw the lines in the water. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. I might do that myself.
Well, let's have a look at the 4 clubs that are playing, and I'll start with that fixture that we just mentioned. Your boys, Sunby Bay, will head out to Lock. And at Lock Oval, the Roos, who have lost a few this year, they will take on your Tumby Bay boys. How's the club looking, Tumby, in general? You got some recruits in this year?
Oh, look, we've picked 2 or 3 up, and I guess it's hard to really judge where we're at until we get on the oval. So fitness-wise, I think most of them are pretty fit, and they look good on the track. But we always look good on the track, and it will be interesting to get under that first game under the belt, like the young McDonald twins and Wade Gary and these guys that another year old, a year stronger, and these young guys will probably carry a little bit of the weight, and Joey Walker returning and Nigel James and Mitch Laurie, pretty handy guys to have around the middle to guide them. So look, it'll be see how quickly we can settle down, and I know they'll be looking forward to playing this week at Lock.
What about the rest of the club, mate? Numbers-wise, across all of the 2 senior grades and the juniors, how are Tumby looking?
I think senior numbers are good. Like, we probably struggled a little bit last year with injuries and we were short, but I think overall this year we're probably a little bit stronger numbers-wise, and it might mean some of our old blokes don't have to play every week. But junior numbers are outstanding, like almost on the other side where we've got a few too many, but it's a dilemma that you just have to deal with, and because they come and go, like we can get these kids to come out of junior footy and then hang around, that's the positive. So we try and guide them through.
All right. What have you heard about your combatants this week, Lock? How are they looking? I've seen that they have lost a few from last year's team. Have they been able to recruit to replace them, or what have you heard?
Look, they've picked 2 or 3 up, but then they've lost 2 or 3. So I guess numbers-wise, it probably balances out. Once again, you don't really find out till you get up there and get on the oval. So Macaulay Glover's headed over to Nord to give himself a run. Jared Hill's headed down to Tasman. So, just a couple of key names there of losses, but you've picked a couple up. So, once again, they'll be quietly confident about how they go about their business. It doesn't seem to matter what numbers they've got. They always play a hard game. You never can just get up there and just think, it's going to be easy, because it never is. Hit the ball hard and run hard. Like, they've always run hard. And probably the saving grace is early in the year. Sometimes they lack a little bit of fitness, but I think everyone does. So I think that'll be the testing thing Saturday is how fit everyone is when it's 27, 28 degrees, that first game of footy. And you struggle enough when it's a nice day, but 28 degrees, I reckon by about halfway through that second quarter, third quarter, it was me probably 2 minutes in, you'll be grasping for breath.
Absolutely. And on the big Lock Oval as well, there'll be a lot of running to be done. So I think there'll be a few boys tonguing it and going down with cramp as the afternoon progresses, I reckon.
Yeah, look, I think so. And it's just, and it is that first game of the year. Like sometimes get a warm day early in April, and and it doesn't matter how much pre-season you've done, that first game just takes it out of you.
Yep, that is true. Pickle juice galore out there at Lock. It'll be an interesting game at Elliston as well, where Elliston Districts, and I'm told now they are officially merged, Elliston Districts. So they will take on United Yolana, who have a new A-grade coach who is a very, very well-known Eyre Peninsula footballer. So the reigning champs and a team which is expected to improve a little bit on last year in Elliston Districts, playing on a small oval at Elliston, should be an interesting clash.
It should be. Yolana have recruited quite well, and some of the boys are coming home, like Xavier Watson, Mitch Jolly, heading home. You mentioned their coach, Reece Francis, would be a reasonable in for most sides, I would think. Mm-hmm. And he will add to their depth, which is pretty outstanding anyway. So, and then you show Sean Maxfield on top of that. Well, I think they're going to be hard to beat again. We say that every year, but 2022 is always going to throw up a few challenges, and I think this game will be a challenge for both sides. Yolana's obviously, as I said, recruited well, but I think Elliston Districts have as well. So it will be a good matchup on that small oval.
Absolutely it will. And I tell you now, Xavier Watson, Reece Francis and Sean Maxfield at one time, that would have been the Eyre Peninsula starting midfield. Forget Great Flinders starting midfield. That would have been the EP starting midfield across that line. So, boy.
There's another bloke there that's not too bad either, like Casey Carr.
Yeah, throw him into the mix. Where's he going to play? Goodness me. That's a stacked midfield.
They don't all fit in the midfield, but they will have a few guys to rotate through there. So, I think there'll be a few teams scratching their heads on how to stand them and stop them throughout the year.
Mitch Jolly's back as well. He could slot in there and do a run-with roll. They've got speed, pace to burn. The one advantage, I guess, that teams in Great Flinders have is that they're not having to face Sean Maxfield and Reece Francis from 10 years ago. I guess that's the only saving grace, but class is still class, mate. It doesn't matter how old it gets.
It is, and I mean, it is a challenge, but then you get the young whippersnappers and they like challenges. So I think the young blokes, they've got something there to challenge them. Yep. These guys are outstanding footballers. Are they past their prime? I don't like saying that because I don't know really when you do go past that. It's not so much how good you're at football, because you've still got that desire. And I'm pretty sure when you come to a new club and a new association or you return, that you have that desire and that want and that, you want to prove yourself again. And I know that from my own experience. Like at 36, you come into a club, you want to prove yourself.
Yep.
So these guys will come here, and yet they're not the players they were 10 years ago, but they might be better because they know where they have to be to get the ball, and they'll be pushing themselves to prove themselves in a new league. So,
well,
yes, they might be better than 10 years ago.
Those three footballers that we just talked about there in Watson, Francis and Maxfield. Maxfield has some pace about him, but the other two boys, Watson and Reece Francis, were never blessed with massive pace or anything like that, but the play seemed to slow down around them. Their ability to find space where there was none and their football IQ meant that when they got hold of the football, they used it better than anyone else, and they could see things that happened on the football field before they happened, before they actually went on. So their football IQ, I don't think it matters how old you get when you've got that. You're always going to be a handful to deal with. So they will be a force to be reckoned with. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, there'll be about a couple of them running off the half-back flank. Might be a bit of a hassle for the half-forward. So, yeah. it will be a challenge for teams.
It will be, but Elliston Districts, they'll be up for it. They've got a few recruits as well, mate.
Look, they've picked up a few. They've Reese Kelch. Now, with the Kelch name, that I don't know if there's a short Kelch on our peninsula.
I've never seen one.
And that was probably an area they struggled in last year. Struggled for a bit of height. Jake McAvoy, and there's a couple of come in from the Hawks. Zane Montgomery, Brody Kenny. Yeah, there's guys they've probably picked up 6 or 8 and lost a couple. And once again, until you get them on the oval and you find out. And, I think they'll be a lot more settled this year, knowing well in advance that what's going on. Where 12 months ago they'd only known for a week or two of where they were playing. So they've had the opportunity to build into this season. I got a bit of training together as well. So I think the first half of last year they're still trying to work out who each other were and how you played. So they'll have a lot more understanding of the team around them and that this year. So that they will be a better side, not just because of the players they've brought in, but because of they've had a better time or more time to prepare for the start of the season. So it will be a challenge for them, but at home on that small oval, I wouldn't write them off.
Absolutely not. No, they're always a chance of their home deck, Elliston, and always have been. But Elliston Districts, now the newly merged club, they will be a handful at any stage of the season on their home deck against anyone. You'd have to back the Eagles to probably win, though, with the firepower that they have at their disposal. But it could be a close one, that one.
Could be, yeah. I would back the Eagles to win, but we're going to have a bit of a mixed, not a mixed season, but a bit of a struggle at times throughout the season with if players are in isolation or various other things throughout the year. But I know locally there's been cases and you haven't had guys not being able to train, and it could throw a few interesting results up, and you will not know some weeks what side you've got until you turn up on the Saturday. And I think that'll be a challenge for coaches and team managers and everyone involved. So it will throw up a couple of interesting results.
Absolutely will, and administrators as well. There are going to be, late outs, late exclusions. It's going to throw all kinds of conundrums at us this year. And I guess the only thing you can ask for those involved with clubs and at league level and whatnot is that everyone be a little malleable, a little bit, ready to just go with the flow almost, because I think we're in for one of those years, mate.
Oh, look, I think so. Most clubs are pretty willing to help each other out and make things happen, and you just have to be in these times. So hopefully things settle down, but in reality you've got to plan for the what ifs, and I think the league has put in SANFL have put in a few good plans to numbers. You can get down to 12 in the B grade if you've got players out, but the hardest thing will be if you get a positive case in your club on a Thursday night or a Saturday after a home game, it doesn't just take your A grade or your B grade out, it can actually take the majority of your club out. So it will be a challenge at times, I would think. Yeah,
spot on. So we'll roll with the punches, but that's the setup for round one. We'll get back and have a chat next week, mate, and find out how those 2 games went. And beyond that, we'll have a look at some of the other teams who've got the bye ahead of their first matches on that Anzac Day long weekend. But enjoy the footy, mate. I know you don't have to worry about putting the boots on this week, but you will have the clipboard in front of you for the senior Colts. So good luck with that.
Thank you. There is probably one bloke I should give a shout out to. He's not always the most popular footballer in the association, but he comes up to his 200th game this week. Nigel James was 2007, played in a premiership for Tumby, been state country footballer, outstanding footballer. I prefer to have him on my side than against him. But yeah, look, he rubs a few people up the wrong way, but he goes hard at it, and you're going to get everything with him. So good luck for him on Saturday for his 200th. You play a lot of years to get that far.
Absolutely you do, and I'd tell you now, whatever people might think of Nigel James, if you're in a war zone and you're in the middle of a trench, he's the bloke you want standing next to you, 100%. So Good luck, Nigel. I'm sure he'll have a good time at the end of the day. Let's hope he has a good time on the field as well. He's been a very, very good player for a long time. So good luck and well said, Primey. Good stuff.
Yeah, he's always better now. He's mid-30s. He doesn't get you in the back of the head as much as he used to, even your own teammates.
He always used to try and take Mark of the Year on anyone, didn't he? It didn't matter who the stepladder was. He was on top of your head with every opportunity.
Yes, he had there's not many guys that can. When I came to Tumbia, he was playing on a wing, and when Brian Code needed a rest, Nigel would go in the ruck. So he'd run on a wing and then ruck. That's outstanding effort at a young age, and I think it's taken its toll on his body as he's got older.
Yeah, no doubt. So we wish him well. Wishing you well too, mate, and good luck to everyone having a kick and a catch in Great Flinders footy this weekend. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Ray.